Hello and welcome back, and we are doing another deck breakdown, this time for Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow, on Dice and Anarchy. First, we will do lands. There are 30 lands in here. We have 8 islands, 9 swamps. Then we have 13 non-basics, 2 of them being non-duals, a Darksteel Citadel and a secluded courtyard to sneak in ninjas easier, to name ninjas. Then duals are Choked Estuary, Drowned Catacomb, Dismal Backwater, a Sunken Hollow, a Demir Aqueduct, a Watery Grave, a Polluted Delta, a Darkwater Catacomb, a Dwar Owl Refuge, an Underground Catacomb, and a Dark Slick Shores. After that, we have the 5 Planeswalkers for this deck. Mu Yang Ling, Kaido the Dancing Shadow, Ashiok, Dream Renderer, Obnixilis, the Hate Twisted, and then Kaido Shizuki. Mu Yang Ling for her unblockable +1, and then her -10 to take another turn. Ashiok, so that way people can't tutor, and I can exile libraries. Obnixilis, so that way it's draw hate, and then Kaido to help with ninja abilities, or this Kaido. And this one also helps with ninja abilities as well. We also have 8 enchantments. We have Arcane Adaptation. We have Copy Enchantment. We have the Warlock class, the Rogue class, Traveler's Cloak. We also have One with the Multiverse, Aqueous Form, and Smoke Shroud. And of course, anything can be copied with Copy Enchantment. 1, 2, 3. 3 things to make. Mu Yang Ling can make things unblockable too. The 4 sorceries for here are Diabolic Tutor, Distortion Strike, Connive and Concoct, then Fraying Omnipotence. Diabolic Tutor is just that. A tutor, look for a card and put it to your hand. Distortion Strike, target creature gets +1/+0 and is unblockable to end of turn, and it has Rebound. Connive and Concoct doesn't have Fuse, so you have to choose either side, but if you flip into it with Yuriko, you get both halves for its CMC. Fraying Omnipotence is another rather medium to high costing spell, but each player loses half their life, then discards half their cards in their hand, and then sacrifices half their creatures, and they have to round up each time. So it's a good way to try to get ahead. And then my 4 instants: Shadow Rift, Dark Ritual. The newer cards say it's an instant. Discovery Dispersal, and then a Cyclonic Rift. Shadow Rift. Target creature gains Shadow until end of turn. Shadow can only block Shadow, so it essentially becomes unblockable unless you're for some reason playing Shadow. Dark Ritual. 1 black for 3 black. Discovery and Dispersal. Discovery. Surveil 2, then draw a card. Dispersal. Each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest converted mana cost among permanents they control to their owner's hand, then discards a card. Really, you want to flip into it with Yuriko, because it counts for both halves of its converted mana cost, even though it doesn't have fuse on it. And then good old Cyclonic Rift. Next, my artifacts. I'll start with all my mana rocks, like a Felwar Stone, a Darksteel Ingot, a Commander's Sphere, a Soul Ring, a Dimir Signet, and a Chromatic Lantern. Those are my mana rocks. Non-mana rocks aren't all necessarily equipments, but I do have a Lightning Greaves, the Thieves' Tools to allow for Unblockable again, a Whisper Silk Cloak to allow for Unblockable again, a Library of Lang, so that way I can't be milled out, a Swiftfoot Boots, a Mirror Box, so that way I can copy some of the legendaries I have in here. And then to wrap it all up, we have Elbrus, the Binding Blade, who you want to flip into with Yuriko because he costs 7. And when he flips, equipped creature gets +1/+0 whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, unattach Elbrus, and then transform it. And he becomes Withengar Unbound, a 13/13 flying, intimidate, trample, and whenever a player loses the game, he gets 13 +1/+1s. Technical difficulties aside, I was saying Elbrus via Withengar was a good thing that you can flip into for Yuriko because of its high CMC. Next and last, we have all of my creatures, 36 of them, 24 ninjas, 12 non-ninjas. The non-ninjas are Slitherblade, can't be blocked, a Loyal Drake, Lieutenant, Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, very large CMC, Krydell of Baldur's Gate, Tormented Soul, can't be blocked, can't block either, so. Kozilek, high CMC. Loyal Subordinate, Lieutenant. His Lieutenant is if you control your commander, he deals 3 damage to all your opponents. Drake's Lieutenant is if you control your commander at the beginning of your combat, you get to draw a card. Also in here, that's not a ninja, Nightveil Spectre, Gurmag Swiftwing, Douthie Trapper, tap to give something shadow until end of turn, Baleful Strix, then Triton Shorestalker, can't be blocked. And all these non-ninjas can become ninjas via arcane adaptation. Now on to the ninjas. In no particular order. Moonsnare Specialist. A 2/2, when it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand. Biting Palm Ninja. When it enters the battlefield with the menace counter on it. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove the menace counter from it. When you do, the player reveals their hand, and you can exile target card from their hand. Walker of the Secret Ways. 3/3 for Biting Palm Ninja. 1/2 for the Walker. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, look at that player's hand. When a blue, return target ninja you control to its owner's hand. Activate only during your turn, so as a sorcery. Throat Slitter. 2/2, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-black creature that player controls. Higyur, the Still Wind. Whenever Higyur, the Still Wind, deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a ninja card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. 2, target ninja creature can't be blocked this turn. Higyur is a 3/4. Mistblade Shinobi. A 1/1. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, it may return target creature that player controls to its owner's hand. Silver Fur Master, aka Master Splinter. A 2/2. Other ninjutsu abilities you activate cost 1 colorless less to activate, and other ninjas and rogues you control get +1/+1. We also have Sakashima's Student. You may have Sakashima's Student enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a ninja, in addition to its other types. Nezumi Prowler. When Nezumi Prowler enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. Inkrise Infiltrator. Flying, 3 and a black, and Inkrise Infiltrator gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Sakashima's Student is a 0/0 because of the copy ability. Nezumi Prowler is a 3/1. Inkrise Infiltrator is a 1/2. Okiba Gang Shinobi is a 3/2 with whenever it deals damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards. Ninja of the Deep Hours, 2/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Moon Circuit Hacker. Whenever Moon Circuit Hacker deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless Moon Circuit Hacker entered the battlefield this turn. Ninja of the Deep Hours is 2/2. Moon Circuit Hacker is a 2/1. Covert Technician. A 2/4, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may put an artifact with converted mana value less than or equal to the damage from your hand onto the battlefield. So we're getting sneaky and putting artifacts out now. Prosperous Thief. 3/2, whenever one or more ninja or rogue creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So a little bit of ramp. Azra Smoke Shaper. 3/3. Whenever he enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Phantom Ninja. It does not have ninjutsu because it cannot be blocked. It's a 2/2. Dokuchi Silencer. 2/1. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a creature card. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. One of the Peace Day Resistance is Silent Blade Oni. 6/5. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may look at that player's hand, and you may cast a non-land card from it without paying its mana cost. So you can really hate somebody's deck or hand, or hate somebody out just by making him unblockable, and then swinging. Thousand-Faced Shadow. When it enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, so essentially if you've ninjutsu'd it, create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. The token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Skull Snatcher. Whenever Skull Snatcher deals damage to a player, exile up to 2 target cards from that player's graveyard. Thousand-Faced Shadow is a 1/1. Skull Snatcher is a 2/1. Ink Eyes, Servant of Oni. 5/4, 1 and a black to regenerate Ink Eyes. Whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you may put target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Mukotai Ambusher, 3/2 with lifelink. And then another piece de resistance, the Satoru Umezawa, 2/4. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. This ability triggers only once each turn. Then the second ability, each creature in your hand has ninjutsu for 2 generic, a blue, and a black. So, any of the big creatures I have, I could ninjutsu out for 4. And then that would be it for the Yuriko deck breakdown. Thank you for watching. And please stay tuned for more Dice and Anarchy.